It's in Minshew's hand, and a drop by Goodson. Texans make the stop, and they take over up by 6.
That is how your Houston Texans clinched a playoff berth Saturday night before Derrick Henry and the Tennessee Titans took out the Jaguars, took out the trash, and helped Houston win an AFC South for the 7th time in franchise history. All 7 times the Texans have made the playoffs, they have won the AFC South. Hang that in the rafters, baby. Tyler Goodson was the Colts running back who was unable to catch that pass. And it was surprising that he was on the field, because if you had watched any of Saturday night's game, you would know that Jonathan Taylor was the only player on the field that was as dominant as Nico Collins. He was incredible. Honestly, the Texans' run defense has a lot of looking at itself in the mirror to do. They're the 4th-ranked run defense in the league, and Jonathan Taylor ran for nearly 200 yards on them. There was a 7.5-minute stretch in the third quarter where the Colts had 100 yards rushing. Insane. You want to be on pace, guy? That would be on pace for 800 yards rushing in a game. So you would think, 4th and 1, season on the line, Jonathan Taylor, a guy who got banged up earlier in the game with, I guess, a heel injury of some sort, but came back in after being called doubtful and played very well when he came back in. After the Colts called a timeout where they were trying to draw the Texans off, which they did a couple of times, the only time the Texans didn't get penalized on Saturday night, 11 penalties for 69 yards. Good God. And they come out of the timeout with no Jonathan Taylor on the field. Shane Steichen pulled DeMeco Ryans' pants down in week 1. Jonathan Taylor should have been on the field for that play. I don't care how hurt he was. So poor Tyler Goodson has a ball thrown to him by Gardner Minshew. It wasn't the best throw. It goes off his hands, and the Texans end up walking away with the win. Goodson, after the game, did not hide from the media, but you could tell this kid's devastated.
I worked too hard to, just drop the ball like that. And I got to accept that on the chin, and that's okay.
It was a drop. It was a tough throw.
It's still touch my hands. It's all good. It's all good. Touch my hands. But next year, I won't be in that position ever again. Ever again.
You guys, I mean, you run plays with that work during the week, so you're out there all week and for that play. You've been in for that play the whole time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We were repping that play all week. I knew that play was for me. And when we called it was just all about making the play. And when that ball came to me, I happened to fail today. But, hey, I'm standing tall. It's over. A lot of the guys came up to me, keep your head up. You know what I'm saying? Never lose my confidence. Just keep being me and keep being myself, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do.
When you got off to the sideline right after that, just what was the reaction from the team? What were you feeling at that moment?
Honestly, I was just feeling like a failure. I know I'm not a failure. I'm gonna just state that. But I felt a lot of love from the teammates. Everybody telling me to keep my head up, but me just being me, I'm always hard on myself. And I know I could have made that play, and that play should have been made. I just got to go back to the drawing board, just keep working on my craft, and come back next year even better.
I feel bad for him. I do. I should not feel bad for an Indianapolis Colt, but Jonathan Taylor should have been on the field for that play. Did you hear that one reporter, by the way, asking, so you practiced that play all week, huh? Like, damn, like to twist the knife a little bit more. It wasn't even a question. It was just like, so yeah, you guys were practicing that play all week.
Wow.
Right. And I mean, there were 2 throws to Goodson in this game. There was the 3rd down throw on the first drive of the game where Minshew threw a bad throw. I don't know if Stingley could have perhaps jumped it and pick-sixed it. And then you have that one. And I feel bad for him because that is probably what he's going to be remembered for his entire life, is dropping a pass in a playoff game unless he makes up for it somehow. So I feel really bad for that guy. And credit to him standing in front of people and answering questions while he's crying. I feel bad. I want to give him a hug. The hug that Hannah didn't give me. Whoa. Why? What's that noise, Sean?
I don't know. I mean, yeah. I don't feel bad though.
You don't feel bad for him?
No,
Come
I
on,
get what
he
you're
sounded
saying.
so sad.
I get what you're saying. They all sound sad after losses. You know, if he would have caught that, you know who would have sounded sad in the post-game press conference? C.J. Stroud. Nico Collins would have sounded sad in the post-game press conference.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you throw the game on the line. You throw to a running back from Iowa. That's what you get. All right,
So that's on Steichen.
You get an Iowa running back out in space. He's going to drop the ball. That tale as old as time. It is 100% on Steichen. It is because you say if you're trying to defend Steichen, you'd be like, well, Jonathan Taylor is banked up. He missed time in that game. I'm looking at the ESPN play-by-play.
They called a timeout right before, Sean.
Well, they called a timeout right before, which I don't super mind. I mean, I mind because of what happened afterwards.
That's what I mean.
But in the moment, that is the game right there.
Yeah.
Even if you have all 3 timeouts, you're asking Gardner Minshew to drive 70 yards to score a touchdown.
They were trying to do it the cheap way by drawing the Texans off,
Yes.
which they did a couple of times in this game.
But before that, it's Jonathan Taylor run up the middle. This is just going backwards. Jonathan Taylor run up the middle. Jonathan Taylor on the left. John Taylor on the right. John Taylor up the middle. Jonathan Taylor on the right. Jonathan Taylor up the middle.
That's insane.
Jonathan Taylor up the middle.
So he was the whole drive.
It was the entire drive. So you could say that, he was banged up, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. He was healthy the six previous plays. They were riding him all the way down the field. I mean, unless he horribly re-aggravated himself on the last one before the timeout. I don't see how that's not Jonathan Taylor in that situation. It's crazy to me that that's not Jonathan Taylor.
Same here. I do not know what was happening there. It's a case of an offensive coordinator getting cute, and we've seen it a couple of times with Bobby Slowik. Coordinators do this all the time.
Yeah.
Coaches do this all the time. But, Sean, I didn't know it was every single play on the drive because he was doubtful to come back in until that drive, and he strapped on his helmet. Credit to that guy. He was doubtful to return. He came back in, and he legitimately put the Colts on his back to get to that spot. And you would think if you call a timeout, you're trying to give Jonathan Taylor a blow there too. That's an added perk of the timeout. So he can go back out there for the biggest play of the season. And they put this poor kid in there, and now this kid's going to have to deal with this the rest of his life. And it wasn't a good throw by Minshew. And you saw the little back and forth between Shane Steichen and Minshew. Steichen was yelling at Minshew as he was coming off of the field.
I think that clip, I think it was Robert Mays from The Athletic pointed out that clip is from earlier in the game.
Oh, people are so misleading. I bought that hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
I
mean,
bought
the
that hook, line,
tweet
and
was
sinker.
also from a little bit before. It was one of those things where no one saw the tweet until after the fact.
Right.
And so
okay.
everyone just thought, hey, the play where Gardner Minshew kind of blew the game? Yeah, no, it was from before.
Right.
Or
Okay.
at least that's what Robert May says. I don't know. But yeah, I do think that Gardner Minshew doesn't get enough flack for how bad that throw was.
He sucked. He was terrible in this game.
Gardner Minshew is not good.
Every single time he was pressured, he missed his throws by a mile.
And it was getting on my nerves a little bit with the whole Gardner Minshew thing. I mean, it's
oh yeah, with all the promos on ESPN.
Yeah,
where
he's
commercial
making
break and he's
silly
looking,
faces.
Right, he's being a goofball.
Yeah, and I'm like, how? I mean,
that's fun in October.
Also, yes, and also we're on year 5 of Gardner Minshew as a goofball. Get a new shtick, dude. Either get a new shtick or national media stop falling in love with this guy.
But Sean, you have
this
to
guy
have a shtick.
stinks. He sucks.
You have to have a shtick, though. You have to.
Yes.
Well, I mean, how are you going to make money?
Trevor Siemian needs a stick.
He does
a shtick then, because there's no difference between him and Gardner Minshew.
Damn, that's cold, but it's true.
What are we talking about here? Mason Rudolph, well, he has a shtick, but he needs a better shtick. Because Mason Rudolph took his team to the playoffs.
He did.
Against all odds. Gardner Minshew gets to have a goofy mustache and a van, and all of a sudden Troy Aikman's chuckling every time he shows him on camera.
If it's in October, it's cute. And honestly, this is Gardner Minshew.
It's cute when it's on the Jags too.
But Minshew needs to do this because, in his post-career, he's going to have a reality TV show, so he has to stay on brand. He has to.
Yeah, he's gonna have a reality YouTube show, maybe.
Well, probably.
I don't think. You
think it'll be better than The Life of Lotto?
Actual network is giving money to a backup quarterback.
I don't know though. I mean, Tommy DeVito's probably getting a TV show because he's just going straight out of the league. Well, what? He's not a good quarterback.
He is.
He's not good.
This year really did show how important it is for backup quarterbacks. Just have a thing.
Have a thing.
Have a thing we can latch onto.
Right.
Because, I mean...
But we don't want too much of it, like with Gardner Minshew. We got a little too much of it.
Yes. DJ Bieniemy knocked it out of the park when he was talking about Case Keenum having to play 2 games. And he was like, normally with a backup quarterback, you can float it for 1 game, and it's not that big of a drop-off.
The second game, it's
second
like,
game
my God.
he was like, second game around halftime is normally when it all comes crashing down. And he knocked it out of the park considering how the Browns game went with Case Keenum and with basically every backup quarterback we've seen thus far. There's like a Josh Dobbs. There's like a little bump and then a fall off. All these guys have, Tommy DeVito, awful bump, awful again.
And to go back to Case Keenum's shtick is he's been in Houston forever.
Yes.
And he gets a big Houston victory over the Titans wearing Oilers uniforms. Like, his shtick, it's good. In and out. We're done.
Yes. That's exactly it. And you don't have Troy Aikman being like, let me tell you, this guy, that's a little Chris
Collinsworth. Come on.
But
don't disrespect Aikman like that.
Aikman was doing a lot of yucking it up when it's like, and Gardner Minshew, let me tell you, is kind of a character. It's like, yeah, we know. Yeah.
You do a pretty good Collinsworth, I think, if you workshop that.
Yeah, I could work on it.
I think
you know what?
Work on.
I'll listen to. I'm sure he's doing a game this week, right?
I wonder. Is he going to be on Peacock or is he going to be on?
If he's on Peacock, he should fire his agent.
That's Sean Mapes. I'm Paul Gallant. It's the Paul Gallant Show. ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Shane Steichen got too cute on that 4th and 1. Bobby Slowik got more than cute on that first play of the game. Let's talk about that first play of the game because that's probably the greatest moment for the Houston Texans in Indianapolis ever. It's the Paul Gallant Show.
Back to the Veritex Community Bank Studios and your favorite 10 to noon sports talk host, Paul Gallant. Give him hell, Paulie.
As Stroud, little play action to start. Good protection. Airs it out for Collins. He's got it. One play. Touchdown, Texans.
I was in my condo with my cat watching the Texans ultimately clinch a playoff berth on Saturday night. I had my window open to my patio, Florida-themed patio. It's got a lot of light blue and pink. It looks great. And I shouted so loud when that touchdown happened. It was only the second loudest that I had shouted this weekend because I was on hold with American Express Travel and and American Airlines, and I yelled at one point, but I yelled very loud when that play happened. And we talked about Steichen and the Colts offense getting a little bit too cute in the last segment. The way that Bobby Slowik chose to open the game up, I am sure we are once again now dreading the inevitable hiring of Bobby Slowik as a head coach somewhere else. I'm sure it's happening somewhere else, Sean.
You, Bobby Slowik, are an Atlanta Falcon. Congratulations.
You won it with Bijan, huh?
Get ready. Or I mean, it just seems like he's he seems like he would fix a lot of the ills there.
You think so?
I imagine they would get an offensive
Which would be giving
guy.
the ball to
Their best
Bijan.
players.
I don't know. He gets a little cute sometimes.
He does
Bobby
get a little
Slowik.
cute. They all get cute.
He didn't get cute, though, in that moment right there. He just said, you know what?
No.
How about our best receiver just runs straight down the field and we throw it as far as we possibly can?
And it's also a situation where I guarantee you that, I mean, because the defensive coordinator for the Colts, do you know who the defensive coordinator? It's Gus Bradley.
Yes.
And so they play the cover 3 zone
all the time.
They're still doing that.
Even though Tom Brady used to destroy it, you're right.
They're doing
always
that
cover 3.
95% of the time. They're in cover 3. So I guarantee you that's we know they're going to be cover 3 the first play of the game.
Right, and it's legitimately a matter of can you catch that safety in the middle of the cover 3 sleeping? And guess what? They caught him sleeping.
Yeah, they ran Schultz shallow in front of the safety. The safety stepped up and they hit Collins deep one-on-one.
It was a beautiful call.
It was fantastic. Again, I'm glad all this Seattle defensive guys are still making money in the league running the same defense for 10 years. That's really awesome. without Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas and
yeah, that's true. I mean,
Richard
look,
Sherman.
the defense does still work to an extent, but when it goes up against great quarterbacks, and CJ Stroud is not he is a great quarterback, they're going to pick you apart. And it was really interesting hearing after the game, everyone talking about it, because you see a play like that, the first play of the game, which ultimately was the first and only time all season that a team scored on its first offensive play from scrimmage. You could tell they had prepared for that all week long, and they must have had, imagine thinking to yourself before the game starts, like, we're doing this on the first play of the game. Like, how are you not low-key, like, palpitating? Your cockle in your heart, it's very warm. It's a very warmed cockle, because you're thinking about bombing that bad boy downfield to open the game.
Yeah, and it is like the ultimate like make a statement type play. I mean, because the NFL, they're not as bad as football teams used to be, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, where it's like, let me guess, the first play is going to be a run up the middle. But teams normally do like kind of work themselves into the game a little bit. If it's not a run up the middle, it'll be like a screen pass. It'll be something short. To be like, nope, guys, the first play of the game, we're chucking it. We're
chucking it, baby.
We're running a post with Nico Collins.
Stop us.
And just throw it as hard as you can, CJ Stroud.
And it was a hell of a throw.
On the money.
It was a hell of a throw.
He had so many plays, CJ Stroud did, so many plays that were, the accuracy is just insane.
There was one throw I bet he wishes he had back, where he had Dalton Schultz wide open on the right sideline, and he overthrew the hell out of them. But you're right. The accuracy is incredible. And some of the throws that Stroud made in this game, in particular, while he's backing up still.
Yeah, the one
over the middle to Collins,
yes,
or the one to the right sideline
to get to the 3. Yes, both of them.
Incredible.
But I was thinking about the one to get to the 3-yard line, the one that set up the touchdown. That one where he is like just backing up, and just off his back foot flips it, and then Collins just goes up and gets it. He's
incredible.
Yeah, it's an insane play.
So they were talking about this play, as I said, with their cockles in their heart palpitating. Sorry, we're killing that phrase today because we heard Jim Harbaugh say that when talking about Nico Collins. D'Amico Ryan said that they've been working on that play for a while.
Awesome throw, awesome catch, something we have been working, and when Bobby called it, I was like, oh, here it is. So just credit to Nico, right, and CJ for also, great ball placement and putting that ball exactly where it needed to be, and Nico going up and making that catch. And I have been telling Nico, hey, he's been catching a lot of deep ones, but he's been stumbling and falling and not getting in the end zone. This time, stayed up and got in the end zone. Biggest play of the year for him.
And he's had a lot of big plays this season. Because remember, he had that big catch and run. I think it was against the Pittsburgh Steelers as well to ice things in that blowout victory. Nico Collins, Michigan standout, go blue today, said, we knew what the first play was going to be this entire week. That must have been a fun moment.
We knew first play was an entire week, man. Even yesterday doing walkthrough, man, defense gave us the look we wanted. Seven trusted me. I trusted him, man. The ball gonna be there, and that's what we did. He told me just run. And that's what I did. Got it. Made a play for the squad.
Made a play for the squad. I do love that the Texans, someone on the Twitch brought up how they say swarm. I love that when the Texans win, they say swarm on 3. It's great. It's one of those slogans that really entirely depending on what happens over the course of the season could have become very annoying because they were really trying to make swarm a thing during the offseason. But if the team's good, works great.
Yeah, it's 100% one of those where, especially in the offseason, especially on the offseason for the Houston Texans, where there's a
little bit of corny.
We've seen 3 new head coaches all bring in their own thing, so to be like, yeah, swarm.
And
dude.
Every coach does it. Every coach has their own little stupid saying. Like the Rams had that really, really not easy on the tongue one that took up a full T-shirt. Oh, yeah. Remember that one? Yeah. Before the start of the year?
Yeah.
But hey, they made the playoffs, so I mean, it worked.
Yeah. You have Jonathan Gannon doing shots, explosive
plays. Yeah, they should have made a shirt for that. I don't think they did.
No, I think they're embarrassed.
They want to forget that moment ever happened as they move on to next year. Will Bobby Slowik be a head coach somewhere else next year? I don't know, but I know what C.J. Stroud thinks he is. His cockle's very warmed by Bobby Slowik.
Oh, we didn't think they were going to be in that coverage. But Slow's a dog, man. Slow's that guy. So he had a feeling like we can hit him up top. And Nico did a great job creating separation. I'll try to do my best to get it out there. And I remember like watching Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson. The first play of the game, I think it was like 2010 or something like that, and they just let it fly. Once I knew the first play was gonna be that, I just kept thinking about that. So, man, it's cool just to see Nico just ball out, and that was a special first play, man. Special.
What a throwback! Vic to Deshaun Jackson with the Eagles when Vic had his little mini Eagles run. While we're just talking about old football stuff, one of my favorite dynamics of Michael Vick joining that Eagles team, and just to see the transformation of Eagles fans who love dogs, oh, my little fur babies, all of a sudden look the other way when Michael Vick was playing well for them and was a borderline MVP. But when the Eagles first signed him, there's this clip that went viral, and Sean, maybe we can find this before the end of the show, of a couple of Eagle fan women who are singing, "Why, Eagles, why?" instead of "Fly, Eagles, fly." And it's like this really funny song about how they're upset that the Eagles signed Michael Vick. It's fantastic. We got to play it before the end of the show.
I will say,
I don't know why that had me thinking of that, but that is a hilarious moment in Eagles fan history.
The "Fly, Eagles, fly" always gets repurposed so many times.
It's easy to repurpose.
Yeah.
It's easy.
I also like when Riley Cooper had his incident.
They didn't make a song about that
at the Kenny Chesney concert.
They didn't make a song about that.
No. I didn't see those ladies picketing.
Rappers say it too. It's fine. Is that what Riley Cooper said afterwards? Is that what the picketers said? Like, how dare they go after Riley Cooper? Because Philadelphia is low key racist too. Like, Philadelphia is one of those towns where there's actually diversity in the city, and yet like there's a pretty good amount of racism there too. But Boston's the worst in the world. Part of my family's from Philadelphia. I'm not saying they are, but I'm just saying like I know Philadelphia. I know Philadelphia people.
Super backfired.
I know Philadelphia people.
Yeah, people keep saying that Boston's racist. And being from Boston, let me tell you, it's not that racist. It's really racist, Philly. And I have family in Philly, too.
It's the old whataboutism. The old razzle-dazzle. Just dropped it on you, baby.